What is the last class? I think in our last class, we
We
seen
are
that
in
we
this.
can create the
Yeah.
table schema with reference of Excel file format, right? So how the Excel data set would look like. In the same way, we created the data, we create the table in a database. That's what we seen in our previous class, right? How many guys are have
Yes.
practically did yourself with the reference of any one Excel data? Hmm? How many are did practically, how many are implemented the table practically with reference of Excel data? No one? Okay. Okay. Let me go
I
for
have
open.
created normally, but using Python, I have not tried. Yeah, I'll try
Yeah,
that.
so
I'll try
we
today.
we with Python, right? Yesterday the session we used the Python for creating the table schema with the reference of Excel data, right? So that what you should actually, you can try to create that specific not only same data of table, but you can create your own table, right? You can create some Excel file and give the some kind of column names, and so that way you can create, right? Hmm? Okay.
I'll complete it today.
Yeah, so try actually, so that you might be face lot many errors, and you have to rectify, and you have to handle those errors. That way you will get an knowledge. Okay.
Sure, Ranjan. I'll
Even
do.
if you listen the entire class,
Yeah.
you won't get. Okay. Okay. Now, now let's go with continuation of yesterday's class. Mhm. Okay. Data science project life cycle. So, the first thing is that you've seen that how we are creating the table, right? Okay. So the next thing is that, I would like to go for, I would like to go for adding the data. So yesterday's session, we create the table in a SQL from the Python with reference of Excel. Now, now this is my data of Excel, right? So the Excel data, it might have almost more than 10,000 plus records we have it, right? So from that records, that information, what I would like to do actually, so I want to load the data into the SQL table. Okay. I would like to go for load the data frame or Excel data into SQL table. So that's my use case. This is one user story. Okay. So creating the Excel. So we have Excel data, and we have Excel, and within that one you have some specific data is there. This data I want to be load into SQL table. Okay. So if you're working in a banking, so you might be getting that transactional data of one specific customer. So you have to go for load that transactional data into SQL table. So in different situations, this task will help you in a real time. Okay, clear. So for that one, so first thing is that the Excel data you have to connect, and you have to load. I mean, you have to read that particular entire data, and that entire Excel data could be created as the data frame format, and the DF variable, it could have it. Okay. Okay. So first thing is that you have to read that Excel data and we have to store into the any one of the variable, right? This is the df variable, which is having your Excel data in your Python program. Okay. So this data, so from this Excel, we read the data from the Python and this data I want to load into the Excel. Okay. For that one, it's a very simple thing, guys. So you have to know that what is the syntax for inserting the data into table. Can anyone tell me?
And then can you please come again?
So if you want to insert the data into the table, what is the SQL query? What is the syntax for inserting the data into the table?
Insert into table and the column name value.
Hmm. Yep. So inserting the data, okay, or inserting the records. So usually we can say that it's a record, okay? Records into the table, okay? For that one, you have the syntax is, okay? Insert into, then table name, or the table name we have it, okay? Table name, and then, so here we have the column name 1, okay? And column name 2. So this way, you may have the n number of columns. With all columns, you have to write in open parenthesis and closed parenthesis, right? After that one, you have that values and then data one, and that means, so record one, right? So the column data. So column one data. Okay, so what the data we want to store in a column one, that specific data, we have to store it. Okay, so column two data. So this way, you can insert the one single record into the table. Is it the syntax or not? Insert into table name and open parenthesis and closed parenthesis. What are the columns you are inserting the data, or in what are the columns you are inserting the data? That columns, okay, you have to write the names over here and then, and which are separated with the values and followed by the what the record information you have it, that record you have to write over here. So this is the syntax for inserting the data into the SQL table. Okay, let me execute this syntax on your SQL. So SQL Server Management Studio. I'm just executing that syntax. Okay. I'm trying to be inserting the data. First, I would like to go for inserting the data in SQL. Then after we can do the same thing. Okay. Okay. Use text skill DB. Okay. So if you run this command, so now you're on a text skill, and within the text skill, what are the tables we have it? We have the student table, right? Within the student table, what are the columns we have it? Student IDs, first name, last name, fee, course, date of joining, right? So I would like to go for inserting the data. And before that, I just want to select what data is there previously. Okay. Select to start from students, right? Students. Select to start from students. If we run this one, So I don't have any records. I don't have any records in the student table. Now I would like to go for insert. If you want to insert the data into the table, command is what? Insert into table name is student, and then open parenthesis, and the column name is student ID. Next one is first name. Next, last name. Then fee. Then course name. Then what? Date of joining, right? Okay, so here we have the values. So within these values, what is the student ID? For example, it's a integer, right? It's a, for example, 10. 10 is my student ID, or else you can give it 1. And the first name is, for example, it's a object and it's a when n char, for example, Srija. Okay. And last name, for example, M. And fee, for example, it could be integer, right? It's a 5,000. Okay. And the course is, for example, it's a data science. And for example, date of joining, it could be something like mm, not sure whether it is executing or not. Yeah, it was done. Okay. Let me
Yeah.
execute this select start from. So this data, it was inserted or not? There could be some issue in
Yes,
a
it has
data
been.
of joining. So it's a different format it was considered. Okay. Mm, First, it could be the year. Second one is the month, and the second next one is the date actually. So I'm giving a different thing. Okay. So for example, 2023 and 07, for example, 11. Okay. Now we can re-execute, but it's a different student ID we have to give you. Like it's a 2, and this one, and for example, Arvind, and so ID is ED, and for example, the course fees, for example, 10,000, and it, let me consider it's a AI course. Okay. And so this is the record I want to be insert. Then execute, and it was affected, and then we can. So here it was executed, right? And there could be some kind of issue for giving the data, data of joining. Okay. And then you can think about this one, how we can give the data of joining. Okay. You can think yourself, but this way we can insert the data into the table. Okay. This way you can insert the data into the table from the SQL. Okay. Same things. I want to do it from the Python also, but I want to do it from the Excel data. I want to load the Excel data into the table. Okay. For that one, I'm just opening my Jupyter notebook and I'm loading the data. Okay. Then after, so we can connect your database from the Python. You're connected to your SQL server. Okay. So once if you connected your SQL server, so once if you connected your SQL server, then you connected your SQL server, then you connected your database, and it was a trusted connection. That means your Windows connection, and you created the cursor, right? This statement will help you to connecting your SQL server and you're connecting with your database. And if you want to do any kind of thing, so you should creating some kind of cursor. So with the help of this cursor only, you are, what you're doing, you are doing any kind of operation on your airline DB. So this cursor, which can be help you to work with airline DB. Okay, now, so which table I want to be work on it? And which table should I need to work on it? And airline price, right? This is, I already created an yesterday session. I'm just giving that airline underscore price. This is my table name. And with help of df.head, so I mean df.head, it can be written you five records, first five records. So iter rows is the function of the pandas. What exactly it will return? It will return the index and it will return the entire row. Okay, that means what exactly it will return, the iter row, what exactly it will return, it will return the these values and it will return the this entire record. Okay, so I mean this is index, right? So the iter rows, it will return the first argument is the index, second argument is the list of this entire data. Okay, clear? Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now the index will have only index number, row which is having the your record data. So entire row information could be there here. Okay, so that way, so you're going to be creating the insert SQL query so that insert into and within the curly braces and closed curly braces and open curly braces. So you're giving the table name. That means which is directly replacing your table name only. Okay, and then after, so are you following this syntax or not? Open braces, right? Open parenthesis, right? Yes, you're doing that open parenthesis. After that open parenthesis, okay, and you're taking the all the column names. You're taking the all the column names. Row dot index. Row dot index. So first thing is that you should need to know that how that thing could be there. Let me connecting with my data. I'm connecting with my data. PD is not there, so that first we have to import the libraries. Then you can connecting with your data. Okay, once if you're connecting with your data, then let me think what exactly you know that what exactly the df.head. Now, now you need to know that df dot head of. So I'm just returning only one record of iter row, iter rows. Okay. Okay, so just just using the next with help of the next function, it will give you that information. Okay, so what it is there inside of the iter row, what it is returning? Tell me, anyone? So this is the index.
Maybe how many rows it is?
No, this is the index. Okay, so I mean, so here it is returning the two objects. One is index, second one is a row. Okay, so this is the row, sorry, this is the index, and this entire thing, it could be your row. Okay, and this is also having the two things. One is the column names, right? And this is index again. For this row, it should have separate index. This is general index. This is your data frame index. But this is the one data frame format only, right? This data frame format which is having the data as well as which is having the column name. So this columns names, which we have name is index. Okay. So that means row dot index. Row dot index means which is returning the all the column names. Okay. Row dot values in the sense which is returning this data. Clear. So, so here, so you're joining that row dot index. When I'm giving the row dot index, which is just accessing only column names, that all columns names we are joining with the comma operator. So that way you're taking the column name one, you're taking the column name two, and you're taking the column name three, and these are all joining with the comma and space operation. Okay. So this is the way you're just accessing only columns. And till now you return that, after that one for inserting you're joining that all the columns. After that one, you're adding the closed parenthesis, and you're adding the values, and you're opening the open parenthesis. That means till here you created the query. Till here you created the query, but you're not adding the data at this moment. Okay. For inserting the query into the table, or for inserting the data into the table. Okay. So for execution, here we have to write that the SQL query and we have to write the values. That means how many values you want to be insert, how many columns I want to fill it, that many question marks you have to add it. So with help of the for value in rows, this is the this comprehensive index. So what it could be returns actually. So it will returns the strings with question marks. So how many data records, how many data records you want to be insert, that all things you are mentioning that question marks. So that way, okay, that way, you can you're creating the SQL query. After that one, I'm just showing you actually so how it looks like. First I can connect this one. Okay, then I'm not inserting anything, just I want to print it, so that you will know that what exactly the print it can do, what exactly insert SQL it could be there actually. Okay, so I would like to go for insert. I would like to go for printing that this one, and meanwhile I would like to go for printing the values. Okay, so here values, we are taking the all the row values, and we are creating one list, and that list we are holding into one variable. Okay. Okay, so I want to go ahead with only one record so that it could easy to understand. So insert into table name and open parenthesis, close parenthesis, column name 1, column name 2, column name 3, and values. And what are the values you're inserting? That many question marks things you should write it. Okay. So within this question mark, this data only can automatically filled it can automatically filled when I'm executing this particular cursor dot execute, and you're inserting this entire this the first argument is this query, and second argument is what are the values you're going to be inserting. What are the values you're going to be inserting? That information we can provide you in a second argument. So that with help of this one, so where first question mark will be filled with this one, second question mark automatically filling with this data, and third argument it can automatically filling with this data. Okay, this way it can be filling the data. This way you can able to insert the data into your table, okay, from the Python. After that one, if you commit it, then the data could be inserted in your table, SQL table. Then you can close the connection and you can close the cursor as well. And now I want to load the data from the SQL. So previously you are loading the data from Excel to SQL. Now you're loading the data from the SQL to Excel. So how we can do it? So first we have to go for connecting with your SQL query. I mean, you can connecting with your SQL server and you can creating the cursor. Then after you just executing this, you can write the select star from. With help of this one, you can read all the records from this table, right? This is the SQL query for accessing the data from the table. So this query we can execute and we can give you for read underscore SQL. So in the pandas framework, the pandas library, we have a function is read underscore SQL. And so you can give you the query and you can give you the connection. Okay. If you give the query and you can give the connection, automatically it can executing this query and it can read all the data and it will holding into one data frame. Okay. Let me try. Okay. So you are read the entire data and I would like to go for display. Okay. So what data we have it? Is it this data you're not reading from Excel? I mean, if you want to know that if you're confusing DF1, you can give you like DF1. So now you're reading the data from the SQL. Okay. And you're reading the data from the SQL and you're displaying that particular data frame. This data frame data you can store into the Excel also. Okay. to Excel something is there. So df1 to, okay, here we have a CSV or Excel, and then you can give you the file name, sheet name. Okay. See, here we have Excel sheet name and float number, columns, and by default it was none. Okay. Sequence hashable, and headers, you can by default it's a true, and you can add the index also. And so this kind of data, for example, you can give you like, Excel file name is SQL to Excel, right? Is the file name. SX. Okay. Okay, now let me check here. Previously, this file is not there. Okay, just now it was created. Any questions, guys?
No, not yet.
So Anjan, whatever the data we have inserted, that converted into Excel sheet,
You're reading the data from the
or
Excel.
we are trying to read the data from
Yeah, you are reading the
Excel
data
sheet.
from the SQL to Excel now.
Okay, using a
Okay.
Python script.
Yes. Previously,
Okay.
in
Okay.
today's session, what we did actually, you are creating the SQL table from the Python with the reference of with the replica of the Excel. Okay. Then after that one, today, what we did, we load the data from Excel to SQL. Okay. Then third one is
Okay.
you load the data from SQL to Excel. So this all operations are done with help of the Python only.
Okay.
Okay. Got you?
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
So these are the three things we did it from the Python. So I'm just giving a task to all, and you can create your own Excel file, and you can try these three things: creating the table and loading the data from Excel to SQL and loading the data from SQL to Excel. Okay. The three things we can do it. That's for today's task, guys. And hopefully you
Okay.
got it.
Okay. Sure.
And yep. So if you did this thing, then I can continue for the SQL part by tomorrow. Okay. Bye. Take care. See you.
Sure. Anjan. Thank you. Thank you.